Greetings, mighty companions. Ask Matt. Greetings, mighty companions, and welcome back to the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center 11 a.m. Course in Miracles class. And we are going to just take a few minutes and become present. I need to take a couple of minutes. We're running late, starting late, so I need to take a breath and let it all go and remember why we're here. All right, remember that these are my family and friends here, and it's all good. So, and hi Rochelle, I was thinking about you the other day. All right, so I want you to close your eyes and take a breath. Just want you to just breathe for a moment. And just notice where you're at. And let's just bring our awareness back to the present moment, right here, right now. For a moment, let's just pretend that this moment is all there is of time. This moment is it. This moment is where it's at. This is the moment that you can experience all that is waiting for you, that surrounds you now and forever. All the good, all the beauty, all the power, all the grace, all the love that surrounds you always. Now is the moment that you can say yes to that and experience that. Now is the moment you can accept all that love's been trying to give to you. This moment now is perfect. And let's practice being present to this moment now. Let's practice being aware of only this moment now and all that it contains and all that it offers to everyone. Let's just breathe it in, open our hearts and minds to it. Who knew that heaven itself, complete fulfillment, has been within us all the time, just waiting for us to be present where it is waiting for us. And to all that is given to us by love, to all the love and the joy and the power that is surrounding us and supporting us all the time, we say thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for giving us everything forever at no cost. We say yes. Thank you. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, just open your eyes and take a breath. All right. Hi, everybody. Hi, honey. Get in here. Yeah. Good to see you. And hi, Aria, my daughter. My daughter is on the phone. Aria, everybody says hi. Wow. Miracle. Okay, amazing. Remember this was Arya's first nanny right here. Right here. Your first nanny is also here also. I love it. Hi, Diana. Isn't that awesome? Best nanny ever. All right, you guys. So where we're at is we're in chapter 31, section 8 or 9. Okay? Beautiful. Choose once again. And this is the last section in the last chapter of the text. So this is like, it's like, all right, guys, we're going to go over it one more time before we graduate, Let's go through it one more time. So it's such a beautiful, beautiful, powerful section. And for me, it really talks about who you are. It's like, don't forget who you are, about who you are and why you're here. So just little, superficial kind of topics like that. Who am I and why am I here? Have you ever asked those questions? Who am I and why am I here? So this section really speaks to that, and it's so beautiful. And it also has the incredibly valuable reminder about what is the real, true, and useful and practical meaning of every problem, every trial, every situation that hurts, that's challenging, what the real meaning and real use of it is. So if you look at every trial you're experiencing, every problem you're experiencing like this, and you respond to it like this is guiding you, this is the answer to every problem. This transforms problems, trials, into miracles. That's what it does, okay? Not bad, okay? So I join with you in bringing to this section any kind of self-doubt about who you are, what you are, and what your value is. I also invite you to bring to this section any trial that you're going through, any challenge, any problem. Bring it to this section and interpret it through this lens, through this meaning, okay? And if you have any challenge in doing that, feel free to raise your hand and go, yeah, but what about who? Or what about what? What about our government? Well, okay. All right, this is A Course in Miracles. All right. All right, so here we go. Hi, Bridget. Lovely to see you all. Here we go. All right. So choose once again. So the first sentence is temptation, or we could say problems, whatever problem you're going through. The problem you're going through has one lesson that this problem would teach. In all problems forms, wherever problems occur. Okay? So problems are what? Problems are temptations. Problems are not natural. Problems are not natural. Okay? God did not create problems. So problems are not natural. Problems are a temptation. It's your ego coming to you and go, you're weak, you're mean, you're unloving and unlovable, right? You're weak and powerless, right? Okay, that's what problems are. They are temptations. And all problems are temptations that are trying to teach you one lesson. All problems are just temptations that are trying to get you to believe one lie. And you want to know what that lie is? That one lie that's trying to get you to believe? It's this. It says, all problems are trying to persuade you, the guiltless child of God, that number one, you're just a body. That's all you are. You're just a body. This body right here, the one that's going to die sooner than you think, right? That you are a body, okay? And not just that you're a body, but that you're born in what must die. That means you're a body. If you're a body, you're born in what's gotta die. And problems are just trying to teach you that you are unable to escape your body's frailty and that you are bound by what your body orders you to feel. Doesn't it seem like the body orders you to feel certain things? Doesn't it seem like that? My body's like, you're tired. I order you to feel tired. I order you to feel sick. So problems are temptations that are trying to teach you that you're just a body, you're born in what's gotta die, you can't escape your body's frailty, and and whatever the body orders you to feel, that's what you have to feel. Okay? This is what problems, every single problem is trying to tempt us to believe. And not only that, our problems are temptations that are also telling us that our body sets the limits on what we can do. Our body is the only strength we have, and our grasp cannot exceed the body's tiny reach. All right, so that's what I thought this problem was about money. I thought this problem was because of this relationship issue that I was having. I thought that that's what the real meaning of this problem was. And this is saying that all problems are tempting you to believe that you are just a body and that you're gonna die and that you cannot escape the body's frailty, and whatever the body tells you to feel, that's what you have to feel. You are the body's victim. That is what is the purpose of every single trial and problem that you are going through. Who knew? Now, is that how we were looking at our problems this morning? Is that how I was looking at the problem when I was watching, the news, and I was getting madder and madder and madder and madder and scareder as I was watching the news? I forgot to go, oh, this is trying to convince me that I'm just a body and that I have to die and that I'm weak and frail, and whatever my body tells me to feel, I have to feel. That's not what my response was. And that's why I stayed mad and scared instead of going, ha, 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 ha. What a joke. Ha, ha, ha. Right? So that is what all trials are. They are problems that are temptations that are tempting you to believe that you are just a body, that you're weak and you're frail, you're gonna die, and that you're a victim of whatever your body's going through. Wow, how depressing. And that is why we are depressed. That's why we're scared. That's why we're angry. That's why we experience lack, is because we believe that this is the limit of who we are. We're a victim to this frail and weak thing that's gonna die. That's why we're upset about everything. Now, if you knew you were not a body and that you could not die and that you're not weak and frail and that this does not, your experience is not limited by this, then what would you be upset about? Anything? Anybody? What would you be upset? Is there anything you'd be upset about? If you knew you weren't a body, you couldn't die, you weren't weak and frail, and that your experience was not limited by this. What would you be upset about? That's why every single problem is a trial. Yes?
I've got a question, and I haven't been here in a long time, but what about the people that have been here for years and they get cancer? Do they believe they had problems?
People who've been studying A Course in Miracles for a long time, who get cancer or whatever problem, are people just like me and you who want to accept the truth and who are working toward it. But like the Course in Miracles says, readiness is not mastery. Just because you, me, everybody here is like, I want to believe the truth, because that's a hell of a lot better than what I had learned and was believing. But that doesn't mean that we have mastered that. And so we're all still learning. We're all still working toward the final acceptance where we only believe the truth that we're not a body.
Is there anyone you know that's mastered it?
No, there is no, I don't know, but I do know that everybody who has set this as their goal and works toward it, their life gets better and better and happier and happier. I do know that. Okay.
Thank
yes.
you.
Yeah, great question. Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to tie this into what is the, because you and I are working on this piece, the sinlessness piece. How does that, like the atonement sinlessness piece, how does that?
That's great. Okay,
correlate?
great question. So, so Terry is asking how the sinlessness piece. So the sinlessness piece is this. If you are sinful, then you must be a body. And if you are sinless, you must not be a body. Because sin is all about the body. All the guilt, all the sin, all the fear is all about the body. You think about what it is that you're upset about, what you feel guilty about, what you feel is a sin that you or somebody else would do. It's all about the body. What is it we're always angry about? What is it we're always guilty and ashamed about? What is it we're always angry about? It's all about the body. So if sin is real, you are a body. If you are sinless, as we are being taught in A Course in Miracles that we are sinless, we were created without sin and have remained that way, then we're not a body. So great question. Yes.
Yeah, I'm thinking that this is kind of a profound day for me. It was like a year ago today I fell and I was tripped by my client's cat going down the stairs, and I had 3 broken bones in my pelvis and a massive concussion. And what came to me, because I've been doing the course for 35 years plus, and I'm ready for more than this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, so many Course in Miracles quotes came through for me. So when we talk about someone getting cancer, it's like, it says in the Course, all things are lessons God would have me learn. And I'm like, okay, God, what's the lesson in this one? Because this is really not something I want to go through.
Right.
And it's there. It's always there.
And what a perfect example of what you're asking. This is somebody who had a major fall, broke bones, major concussion, and look at her. You know, you would never have guessed that she had experienced something like that. And she's been studying for 35 years. So here's somebody who experienced something that if other people had experienced, you know, that might have been it for them, you know. And so that was the perfect question and perfect demonstration, perfect answer to that. When something happens to the body, when you interpret it in this way, oh, the ego's trying to convince me that I'm just a body and I'm going to die and that I'm guilty. And that's what's going on here. And you respond to that crisis, that physical crisis, with that interpretation. You are now in a mindset of miraculous healing. I mean, where you experience a recovery, like, look at you, you know, where you're like, you know, ego tried to kill me and look at me. You know, I've had lots of experiences where my ego has tripped me and pushed me. And I mean, where I've literally just recently, I mean, with the tripped by my dog or pushed by my dog, right? And my puppy. And truly the interpreting it like, oh, this is my ego tempting me to feel like a weak and powerless body and stupid, it literally enabled me to have a profound recovery. So that's why this is telling you the problem, but it's also telling you the one answer to all trials, all temptation. It says temptation has one lesson that temptation would teach in all its forms. Problems have one lesson they would teach in all your problems' forms. And if you interpret all your problems in that way, this is my ego trying to convince me that I am just a body that is going to die and that is guilty, and that this is the extent of me. And then in that interpretation is the correction of that temptation, of that problem. Yes?
So picking up on this theme, and very much related to this, and lesson 193, all things are lessons God would have you learn. I go back to this frequently when things aren't making sense to me. It takes it as a way, as a reminder to not be too hard on myself. It takes great learning to understand that all things, events, encounters, and circumstances are helpful.
Yes, yes.
It is only to the extent which they are helpful that any degree of reality should be accorded them in this world of illusion.
Right. Exactly.
Even though I don't understand why this change is happening,
Exactly.
how this could possibly benefit me,
That's right.
and that helps me to remember that somehow the Holy Spirit
This is helpful.
However I've landed here in this circumstance, the Holy Spirit can use this for my and the plan's benefit.
Absolutely, because when I have a physical accident or a physical problem or whatever kind of problem or challenge or trial it is, what's helpful is that, I still believe I'm a body. I still believe I'm a body. That's helpful because that now I see where I'm at. I'm being honest about where I'm at. I still believe I'm a body. And that doesn't mean that I'm a failure. Actually, that's a miracle that I went, oh yeah, I still believe I'm a body. That's right. But that lets me know what the problem is. It also lets me know what the answer is. What is the answer? I need to remember, go back to what is telling me that I am a spirit, deathless, timeless, that cannot be hurt, that cannot die, that isn't limited to this. And so it reminds me what the real problem is and what the real answer is. I am not this body. Thank God. I am a spirit that is innocent and sinless and cannot be hurt and cannot die, cannot lose what I love. If you're a body, you can lose what you love. Perhaps the most insane belief of all, and the most heartbreaking belief. If you are a body, then those you love, they are a body. And that means if they are a body, that means if their body dies, you lose them forever. How that is the most heartbreaking thing. And thank God it isn't true. And so that's the great value of remembering, oh yeah, I still believe I'm a body. Oh yeah, which means the answer is remembering I am not a body. And if I'm not a body, what am I? I'm free. Yes.
Matt, that beautiful quote, I have to remember that the key word is all things.
All things.
Are lessons that God would have me learn, because I love to exclude things. Oh, not this, and not that. So the key word is all.
All things are helpful. Yeah, because all things are revealing to you what you still believe. Even if you're telling yourself, well, I'm enlightened. I totally believe the truth. Well, what you experience is going to always be revealing to you what you really believe, and that's helpful. Because only if you're being honest about what you really believe can you choose to believe something else if you want to. You can't choose to believe something else while you're in denial about what you really believe. And that's one of the temptations of people, on a spiritual path, is to pretend to be enlightened, to pretend to believe only the truth when it's obvious that you don't. And, and that's one of our temptations as people on a spiritual path. And that's why problems are so helpful, is because they help us to get honest with ourselves so that we can make greater progress, faster progress.
And the other thing is, it's both good and bad experiences.
Mm-hmm. They're all helpful. All experiences are helpful. Either the experience is showing you that you've come farther than you think, which is helpful, or they're showing you where you're really at so that you can, so that you can take care of yourself where you're at. Start where you're at.
So the Course says that when the apparent separation happens, that the script was already written.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So whether you're in the right state of mind, like Matt said yesterday, it's not that your life will get better, it's that your perception will shift.
That's exactly right.
And that's the miracle.
That's right.
The ego says cancer is bad, and me getting all the money is good.
Yeah.
But that's analyzing.
Exactly. I cannot tell you how many people that I know who've experienced all kinds of physical temptations and disasters, cancer, whatever, and have told me that was one of the best things that ever happened to me. I can't tell you how many people I've heard tell me that because why? Because it helped them to get honest with themselves about what they really believed that they were in denial about. They were pretending that they didn't believe because they were on a spiritual path. you know. They wanted to seem further along or something. So that's why the Course in Miracles tells us that all problems are temptations. All problems are temptations. And that the answer to everything is that all things are helpful. Everything is helpful. When you recognize this is helpful, then you move forward in your learning evolution. When you go, this is helpful. What is this teaching me? What is this showing me? Now you speed ahead in your learning. All right. So we said all problems have one lesson, and we just heard what it is. You're just a body. The body's power is the only strength you have. Your grasp cannot exceed the body's tiny reach. And then there's this question that it asks after this, and it says, would you be this weak, powerless body that's going to die if the Christ in you, your true self, appeared to you in all its glory, asking you only this? So, would you be just a body that's going to die and weak and powerless if your true self in all its glory appeared to you and said, hey, choose once again. Choose once again. Would you like to take your place among the saviors of the world? Would you like to choose? You can either be this weak, powerless body that's going to die, or door number 2, you could take your place among the saviors of the world. What's it going to be? Okay? You can be this weak, powerless body that's going to die, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, or you can accept your true, limitless power to help and to heal the whole world. What's it going to be? And interesting that it says, and by the way, it says, so your higher self, remember the Christ in you. Course in Miracles talks about the Christ in you. The Christ in you is who you really are, as you were created by God. That has not changed. There is a self in you that has not been weakened, that has not been made guilty, that is not vulnerable, that hasn't been touched by one finger of guilt or sin or weakness. That's your true self, and that is in every single one of us. That's the truth about every single one of us. Who we really are is a beautiful, glorious, powerful, limitless, spiritual being that is pure love, pure power, pure beauty, and eternal, and has all the power that has been given it by God. Okay? That is what is the truth about you, and that is in every single one of us. Okay. Who here believes that? Who here wants to believe that? Okay. All right. And a miracle is when you get a glimpse, just a teeniest, tiniest little glimpse, and you're like, whoa, whoa, oh, whoa. Okay, there's that kind of beauty and power in me. Woo, okay, wow, all right. I'll take some more of that. That's what a miracle is. When you get a little glimpse, when you let a little bit, when you let yourself see that a little bit, or you let it come through you a little bit. And it's saying to us that in every single trial, our true self, the Christ in us, is standing right there next to us going, well, do you want to be this problem, this limited body that's going to die, that's weak and guilty and stupid? Or do you want to be who and what you really are and take your place among the saviors of the world? You know, it's your choice. It's your call. Every single problem we have, every single trial, our true self is standing there, witnessing, asking us this question. Who knew? Usually when I'm in my trials and my problems, I feel so alone. I feel so weak and so powerless and so alone. You know, I have no idea that my true self is just like sitting there in all its glory and all its power and all its radiant love, just looking at me like, that is so not who you are, baby. That is so not who you are. Do you know who you are? The world needs you. That's who you are. That's who you are. You're so beautiful and loving and powerful. The world needs you right now. That is what's really going on in every single problem and trial that we're having. Who knew? Who knew that in each trial that we're going through, we could go, you know, I think I'm going to use this to accept my true power and my true glory, and I'm going to take my place among the saviors of the world. You know, and you know that you can do that. You know, truly, you are not the victim of that problem. You are not the victim of your body. Just because you're having this problem does not mean that you have lost your power to save the world at all. As a matter of fact, your true self knows that you have the power to save the world and that the world needs you. And your true self knows that the whole reason that the ego gave you this problem is so you wouldn't know. That's the whole reason the ego gave you that problem. Ego's like, oh, she's about to accept her true power. Oh my God. She's about to wake up and see how powerful her love is. Oh my God. We better give her a problem. And we better make it good. We better make it big. And we better make it tempting. You know, we know the problems that really tempt her. You know, my ego knows exactly the problems that tempt me the most. You know, we all have our special problems, right? My ego's like, I know something that'll work for her. She always takes the bait when I give her that problem. Right? We all have our little special temptation. The ego knows. Your ego knows. Your ego knows what will tempt you the most. You know, is it physical sickness? Is it money problems? Is it relationship problems? You know, is it climate change problems? Your ego knows exactly how to tempt you to feel weak and powerless and guilty and ashamed so that you'll go, well, who would need me? Who would need me? I'm weak and powerless. I'm pitiful. You know, who could I help? So I'm not going to take my place among the saviors of the world. I'm just going to go eat a bag of chips and watch TV. That's the best someone like me could do today. The ego knows, you know. And don't forget that the closer you get to remembering who you are and taking your place among the saviors of the world, that's the more threatened your ego feels. The more ego's like, oh no. Ego starts to get really uncomfortable. So whenever you're going through your biggest trials, you may as well just tell yourself, I must have been getting close. I must have been really getting close to like remembering I am powerful. I am loving. The world needs me. You must have been getting real close. So tell yourself that. Oh, the ego's tempting me. Why? Because the ego is feeling threatened. And what's the one thing that threatens the ego? That you would wake up to your beauty and your power that the world needs. That's the ego's greatest fear. That's your ego's greatest fear. So the closer you get to waking up and going, I have something the world needs. I have the love. I have the truth. I have the power that the world needs. That's when your ego's like, five-star alarm. Because the ego's like, bang, bang, bang. All the alarm bells go off, you know, in the ego's fire station. You know, that's when the alarms go off. And then must have a problem now. You know the one. In case of enlightenment, break glass and get out that problem. And then whack her over the head with it.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
so fascinating because I've noticed that in the past when I'm like I feel like I'm in a really high space and everything is in the flow and then something will happen.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
And this one was always in such a happy space, had a big success with my client, bopping down the stairs, and we're gonna go out to dinner that night.
To celebrate.
Something exciting the next day, and wow, everything's coming together, and it was just like a boom. And,
Yes.
And initially, I didn't even recognize people I knew well. Like I couldn't move at all. It was just like I was like not just my true self was distance in my mind, but I wasn't in the body either. And it was thank God it was so much Course in Miracles.
Yes.
Miracles are natural.
Miracles are natural.
Silence and miracles.
Absolutely.
And we never know what anything is for. And I'm like,
What is this for?
And it was just like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, as a psychotherapist, I talk to people a lot about their problems. And whenever somebody comes to me and tells me about some major crisis, I always go, so tell me about what was going on right before that. And almost every time it was just like what you were talking about. Well, I was totally in the flow, and I had experienced a miracle in this, and I was experiencing, my life was finally what I was experiencing. It was just great, and I was experiencing this and that, and I was, and almost every time, what was happening right before was what they had, been working toward or dreaming of, and always wanted to experience, and then the ego pushes them down the stairs or whatever, car accident, cancer, whatever, the ego's very consistent. We're just trying to work it so that we are as consistent as our egos. The egos are very consistent. That's why the ego stuff seems to happen so much more quickly than the miracle principles, right? So, thank you for sharing that.
Because it gets more vicious.
That's exactly. The ego's whole range is suspicious to vicious. That's the ego's entire range. At best, the ego's sitting there suspicious, like, I know you're having a good time and being yourself, but, I'm just waiting for my opportunity to push you down the stairs, right? That's the best the ego's ever at. And then when you have seriously threatened the ego more for it to even pretend to be your friend, that's when the ego goes vicious. The ego's whole range is suspicious to vicious. But when you know that, then when it happens, instead of going, oh, I'm such a failure, I'm such a loser, oh my God, now I'm sick, and oh my God, poor pitiful me, and I'm such a failure as a Course in Miracles student, right? Instead of doing that, you reinterpret it like, wow, I must have really threatened my ego seriously. And that's a totally different interpretation. One interpretation is I'm a weak body loser, and the other one is I must be doing so good. I must be progressing. I must be accomplishing what I have been wanting to accomplish, which is awakening to who I really am. Totally two opposite different interpretations. And the second interpretation, now you're interpreting your situation lovingly, which means you're now flooding your body with healing, positive hormones and neurotransmitters, where your body is actually being flooded by healing chemicals. The other interpretation of your problem as fear and guilty and ashamed and weak, you are flooding your body with cortisol. You're flooding your body with neurotransmitters and hormones that weakens your immune system. Two totally different interpretations, two totally different experiences in your body relative to that one physical issue. All the difference of interpretation. Okay? One is saying, oh, I'm getting close. Let's use this. Let's use this to become the healer and the teacher that I am meant to be. Let me use this to become the healer and teacher I am meant to be. and how I use this to become the teacher and healer I'm meant to be makes me a better healer and teacher for humanity. So now it was a total boost. It was a total boost to you fulfilling your function as a teacher and healer for humanity. Now you're like, I'm glad that happened. You go from this is the end of me to, wow, I'm really grateful that happened. Wow, and that's a miracle. All right, beautiful. Wow, okay, beautiful. I love that. Monica says 3 car hits one time, stolen. I'm way off my ego game. These things keep happening. And now we're hearing another way of interpreting them today, Monica, that turns tragedies into miracles. All right. Okay, great. So it says, when you are tempted with any kind of problem or trial you are going through, right next to you is your higher self standing there asking you to choose again if you want to take your place among the saviors of the world, or would you rather stay in hell and hold everybody else there with you? And it says, because your higher self has come and your higher self is standing there and your higher self is asking you this. Your higher self is asking you this. Do you want to use this to stay in hell and keep everybody else in hell with you? Because you know what happens when you're in hell, right? You're going to be damn sure that everybody else around you stays in hell with you. Because nobody likes to be in misery alone. Misery loves company. Or do you want to use this to transform yourself into a better and more profound teacher and healer for humanity? Because you can use it for either one, and that is your choice, and your higher self is standing there reminding you that you have that choice in every trial that you experience. Good to know that that's what's really going on when I'm going through some kind of trial. Good to know. That transforms the trial to a miracle. All right. Now, then it tells us how to make this choice. The Course in Miracles is so helpful. It's going to tell you, here's your choice, and then next paragraph, here's how to make this choice. Okay, just in case you were wondering. Here's how to make the choice. What choice? Do I want to stay in hell and keep everybody here with me and see myself as just a weak, frail, guilty body, or do I want to take my place among the healers of the world? That's our choice. How do you make this choice? Well, how easily is this explained? You always choose between your weakness, being a body, being a guilty body, and the strength of the real you in you. You're always choosing between your weakness and your true strength. Okay? The true strength of the true you. You're always choosing between that. In every choice you make, am I going to side with my weakness? I'm guilty and I'm just a frail body and I'm a victim? Or am I strong? Am I a teacher and healer for humanity, and that's why I'm here? And I'm strong. You're always choosing between those two things in every trial. And it says, and what you choose is what you think is real. So, simply by never using weakness to direct your actions, you give your weakness no power. And when you do that, the light of your real self is given charge of everything you do. Because why? Because you have brought your weakness unto your true self, the Christ in you, and your true self has given you its strength instead. Okay, so how do you make that choice? Simply by never using weakness to direct your actions. It sounds so simple. It sounds so well. That sounds so simple. It can't be that easy. But when there seems to be a choice to make, which is what happens when you're experiencing a trial. It's like, I got to make some choices. And this is saying when you are going through a trial and there seems to be a choice to make, then it's saying that all you have to do is don't use your weakness to direct your action. Okay. So what would be my weakness in any situation? It'd be my guilt, my shame, my anger, my fear, my blame, my feeling of being like a victim, my anger. You know, those represent my weakness, because those all come from my belief that I'm just a body, I'm guilty, and I'm weak, and you know, I have to feel whatever my body tells me to feel. I'm weak, I'm a victim, right? That's what my weakness tells me. And so in any situation where I'm going through a trial, he's saying all I have to do is don't use my weakness to guide my action. It's not saying deny that you feel weak and guilty and ashamed. It's saying just don't use it to direct your action. Yes.
And today's Course in Miracles lesson correlates, I am determined to see this differently.
I am determined to see this different. Perfect correlation, today's lesson. I love it. So it's not saying, you know, it's not saying pretend you don't feel weak. It's not saying pretend you feel strong. It's not saying pretend you don't feel like a victim of what's going on. It's not saying pretend you don't feel ashamed. It's saying just don't use it. Don't use your weakness. Recognize that that is coming from my belief that I'm just a body and that I'm guilty. Okay? And so, yeah, I still have those beliefs, obviously, but that doesn't mean I have to use those beliefs. So simply by not using your weakness to direct your action, then what you're doing is you're calling upon your higher self. You know, you're calling upon your higher self, and then your higher self, what does it say? Then the power of your higher self will be given charge of everything you do. Isn't that nice? How would you like that to happen? Where your higher self is given charge of everything you do. How would you like for your higher self, your powerful, loving, brilliant self, to be given charge of whatever actions you take? Isn't that awesome? How simple is that? Just don't use your weakness, your fear and guilt, to direct your actions. So it's not about being in denial or suppressing anything. It's just like, I see that, I see my weakness, I'm tempted, so tempted to come from my weakness right now. Every time you attack, every time you blame, every time you feel guilty and ashamed, every time you give guilt and shame and attack, you are allowing your actions to be guided by your weakness. That's what's really going on. You know, you were feeling weak, and then you used your weakness to guide your action. And how does that turn out? Bad. Just bad. It's never good. It's never like, sure, I'm glad I let my weakness direct my actions. You never are glad. I sure am glad I attacked that person.
Yeah, it's always attack, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's all, whenever you attack with blame or guilt or shame or whatever, it's always coming from your weakness. Your higher self, your real self never attacks, because your real self never feels weak, because it's not.
So what's the difference between like attack and protecting? Like protecting myself?
Yeah, well, the Course in Miracles tells us that we believe that to attack makes us safe. And that's how we justify attacking. And the truth is that when you attack, it actually makes you less safe.
Right.
You know, we all know that. You know, you think that it's protecting you, but the Course in Miracles says that's just our false justification, because we're attack addicts.
So you're saying there's no difference?
Right, no difference. Exactly. And that the only thing that actually protects you is when you don't use your weakness to guide your action. That's the only thing that actually does keep you safe and actually does protect you for real, is when you're not letting your weakness direct your action. Okay. Yes,
I like stories and examples because it just reinforces this information. I would like to hear someone's story about how they let their weakness
direct their action.
correct and how they were able to shift
Mm-hmm.
and get a little miracle or something.
Mm-hmm.
I like stories.
Oh, I have a good one.
All righty then. Yeah. It's the other question where you might,
I want to see the shift. I want
Okay,
to
so
see
my dad is 90, and he was horribly fraud and scammed, and I'm here in Denver, and he's in Delaware. And I get phone call from the bank saying he wants to take a large amount of money and send it to somebody in Arizona. Do we know anybody? And I am this is Christmas time, and I don't know. So I go down the rabbit hole, and I am totally in my weakness. I don't know who to call. I don't know what to do. I mean, I am like on the ground, freaking out, thinking like I gotta get a plane ticket and I gotta do all this stuff. And I allowed my weakness to just, for 2 solid days, I'm calling all these people and I'm trying to figure all this out, and I'm calling attorneys and I'm calling the general attorney's office, and I am a mess. And I just took like the 3rd day came and I was like, okay, God, I cannot fucking do this. Like, and I don't want to call a bunch of friends, and, I don't want to bring in the whole world. So I just was like, I just stopped. And man, oh man, like the Attorney General's office called me back, the lawyer called me back. I mean, it was all the power of attorney set up for you. The banks all called me back. I'm like, God just took it. Or my higher self, I allow my higher self.
And then
And so it's all,
beautiful.
I didn't even have to go there.
So what you did is you turned it over.
I guess
Exactly.
I turned it over, and I said, okay, God, help me to take the appropriate actions, leave the right messages. Just, I as Terry cannot do this.
Perfect example. Perfect example.
I always go to God.
Yeah.
I'm not going to my right brain.
But your higher self.
Same
is
thing.
God.
Same thing.
Is God.
And she
Same thing.
recognized her weakness.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
exactly.
I still like to pretend that there's the man with the beard.
Right.
I still like to have that image. And I know everyone has a different image.
You
but
can
it's-
have
Yeah,
that image.
whatever it is.
Let me just
Give it to
explain
that
something.
man.
God.
Any symbol you need.
Okay, there's this God. And then there's these little sunbeams, right? That we're all we have a little Christ in us.
Yes, that's
Because,
right. Yes.
Jesus was a
Yes.
teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and so who I love is Bud, and he always, and then I was a big sinner, and
Join the club. Join the club.
I have to tell you, I loved all my sins, and
We noticed.
I really loved it.
We noticed.
My story.
Yes, yes.
And he would say, well, you wouldn't want to do that again. God was teaching you, a lesson or something like that. Am I on the right track?
Yes, you are, and what your question is anticipated. So thank you for that perfect example. That was a perfect example. You stopped using your weakness to guide your actions, and as soon as you stopped that and gave it over to your higher self, God, Spirit, whatever you want to call that, immediately, what does it say? Then your higher self-love was given charge of all the actions that you undertook, and then the result was peace and effectiveness. Okay?
Always go to the throne before you go to the phone.
Hallelujah. Always go to the throne before you go to the phone. Another Jerryism. I love it. Yeah. Another wonderful Jerryism. I love it. I love it. All right. So now we're on paragraph 3. All right, guys. Okay, now we're on paragraph 3, and it's going to tell us everything that we just talked about, but it's going to tell us in a more succinct way. It says, trials are but lessons which you failed to learn, presented once again, so that where you made a faulty choice before, you now can make a better choice and thus escape all the pain that what you chose before has brought to you. Okay, that is what's going on. Every trial is, this is a lesson I didn't learn before that's being presented again so that I can make a better choice now and escape all the problems that the wrong choice brought me before. Okay, got that? That's what the problems are. They're just a lesson you didn't learn before. Being presented once again to give you another chance to choose better now. Thank you, universe. Hold on. Let me finish this. Thank you, universe, for this trial, because here's my chance. Come again. Okay. So that's what it is. And he says, so in every difficulty, in all distress, and each perplexity you face, your higher self, love, is calling to you and gently saying, my brother, my sister, choose once again. Choose once again. Now, why is it that in every trial you go through, your higher self, love, is saying to you, choose once again, choose once again. How about now? How about now? Why? How about now? Who cares what you chose before? What about now? Do you want to choose again now? Why is it that your higher self in every trial and perplexity is giving you and asking you this question and giving you this chance? It's because your higher self doesn't want to leave even one source of pain unhealed in you. Not one? Not even one little teeny bit of source of pain? Not one source of pain in you. Your higher self doesn't want to leave one teeny tiniest source of pain unhealed in you. That's how much your higher self loves you. Can you imagine having a friend who's like, I don't want you to have one source of pain left to hurt you. Not one. Can you imagine having a friend like that? Well, you do. And the other reason your higher self is always there asking you to choose once again, reminding you to choose once again, is because your higher self wants to remove all misery from you. All of it. You whom God created altar unto joy. Did you know that you were created as an altar unto joy? Did you know that? No, I thought that I was the doorstep of misery. Are you kidding me? I thought I was the potty of hell. You know, I did not realize that I was created as the altar unto joy. You know, you want some joy? Go to Anna. I didn't know that. I forgot, exactly. And that's why your higher self is always there in every trial, asking you, reminding you, choose once again, whether you want to take your place among the healers of the world or whether you want to just stay in hell and keep everybody else in hell with you. It's because your higher self wants to remove all misery from you because God has created you as altar unto joy. And not only that, your higher self, your true self, doesn't want to leave you comfortless, which means alone in dreams of hell. Can you imagine having a friend like that? Who's like, I am not going to let you stay alone in dreams of hell. I'm not leaving here till you know that you are altar unto joy. I am not going anywhere. I am going to make sure that there's not one little speck of misery and guilt and shame, or one belief that you're alone, one belief that you're comfortless. I am not going to allow one teeny tiny belief in comfort, you being comfortless and alone, to remain in your mind. Now that's a real friend. And that's what we have within us, that is standing there within us in every trial, every perplexity that we are going through, reminding us of the truth about us and how we can just choose differently in that moment and experience the power and the love power in us that the world needs. That's within us. Amazing. Good to remember that we have something within us that doesn't want to leave us comfortless, alone in dreams of hell, but a friend within us that wants to release our mind from everything that hides love's face from us. Our true self's innocence is ours because it is the only power that is real in us. This friend within us, it is the only power that is real in us. That's who you really are. That's the only power that's real in you. That's the only real thing in you. The weakness in you, that is not who you are. That's a lie. That's fake. That's a deception. That is not who you are. The only thing that's real in you is the part of you that's powerful and loving all the time. Okay? And then it says, and its strength is yours because it is the self that God created as God's only child.
Where are you?
I'm in the last sentence of paragraph 3. The images you make cannot prevail against what God himself would have you be. In other words, the images you make of yourself cannot prevail against what God himself would have you be. That's what we're saying. Okay? So that's the moral of it is this. You've made images of yourself to be weak and guilty. You've made yourself to be something that should feel ashamed all the time. You've made images of yourself that you're weak and powerless and guilty and that you should be ashamed and afraid all the time. Broken into by a few moments where you feel good about yourself because you're having a big old cheeseburger. Terry goes, that sounds so good. Well, I love this cheeseburger. I was feeling so terrible about myself, but feeling really good about myself right now. Or whatever it is, you know.
Cheeseburger, but you're a vegetarian.
Exactly. Thank you. Exactly. So the truth is that you remain exactly as God created you, which and no matter what images you come to make of yourself as weak and guilty and afraid and little and lacking, they will never prevail. They will never be who and what you are. You can never make your weakness your truth. You can never make your weakness your truth. Never, ever. You can never make your guilt, your shame. You can never make your body who you really are. And that's the moral of the story here. And that is what you're being asked to remember and to side with in every trial that you're going through. In every trial that you're going through, you're tempted to feel weak. You're tempted to believe your images that you learned about yourself. In every trial that you're going through, you're being tempted to believe that you are what you learned to be, weak and little and guilty and limited. That's what's going on. Your ego's like, see, you are what you learned you were. Guilty, limited, weak, gonna die, right? That is what's happening in every trial. And no matter how tempted you are, you can never change yourself from what God created you to be, which is limitless, free, guiltless spirit, deathless, timeless, limitless, and literally the light of the world. That's what you were created to be. And you can never change that just by something that you learned about yourself in the past. Even if you want to be that weak and pitiful, guilty thing that you learned you were. Thank you, God. Yes?
You know, growing up, I had a lot of dreams or things happen. And I believe that the people around me projected things upon me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They did. Sure. They did.
And that has made me very weak and very powerless because I came to believe all these projections
Yes.
on me, on, an example, you lose your job if you put weight on, or, just
Yeah,
all on
yeah.
the outer
We all know.
shell.
Yes.
And so
And those are all
from my
of,
family, from
yes,
from men,
everybody.
from everyone.
Those are the images.
I'm embarrassed to say that out loud.
Yeah.
It'll be okay.
These are the images.
The images that
These are the
people project
images
on.
that you made, meaning that you accepted. The images that you accepted from what they, So the images that you accepted cannot prevail against who God created you to be.
That's gonna
The
take a long
images,
talking.
what you learned about yourself will never prevail against what God himself has created you to be. Okay. And so you do not have to believe that in order to accept that. You can say, I accept that, even though I don't believe it, and then you get the miracles that come from you siding with it. Remember, it said, all you have to do is side with your strength. So when those beliefs show up, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, just don't use them to guide your action. That's all. You don't have to I have to not believe them ever at all, and then only then I can be happy. Just don't use them. And any unhappy, unloving, unhealthy thing that comes up, that's one of those images that you learned about yourself. Okay. Yes, George.
So I just want to mention, if you take an eagle's egg, and if you put it with the eggs of chickens, and let's say the chicks hatch with the eagle's eggs, the eagle will believe it's a chicken.
Yeah.
No, the eagle, the bird.
Yeah.
The eagle.
The eagle will believe it's a chicken.
Right, the eagle
It won't
will
fly.
believe it's a chicken, and all it will do will peck at the dirt, looking for bugs like the other chickens, and it will never fly.
Yeah.
Because the chickens have taught it that it's a chicken.
Okay.
Yes.
Can someone share with me that you feel better?
Hold on. Let me, we only have 15 more minutes, so let me finish. Let me finish and get to the what do you call it in the joke? The punchline. So let me give you the punchline. All right, everybody. Okay. All right. So great. Okay. So then paragraph 4. So it's telling us what to do when those temptations come up. Okay. So you were just talking about the temptations, the images, about what we learned from ourselves in the past. This is what it says. Don't ever be afraid of your temptation to feel weak, to feel pitiful, to feel guilty. Okay? When it comes up, don't be afraid of it. When you notice you're feeling guilty and weak and pitiful and ashamed and all that stuff, this says don't be afraid of those feelings. Don't be afraid of those perceptions, okay? When they come up, don't be afraid of them. I'm feeling weak right now. I'm feeling pitiful. I'm feeling ashamed. I'm feeling guilty. I'm feeling stupid. I'm feeling whatever. I'm feeling like a loser. Don't be afraid of those thoughts. Don't be afraid of those images. Don't be afraid of those temptations, okay? All you have to do is see those temptations, those thoughts, as what they are. Another chance to choose again. Yay! For another chance to choose again. See that? Don't be afraid of them. Just see them as they are. Yay! Another chance to choose again. All right. See how loved we are? We're so loved that no matter how long and how often and how much we keep choosing lies about ourselves, we keep being given another chance to choose again because we are loved. So hold on, baby. Hold on. All right. So it says, and when you see it as it is, just another chance to choose again, you will let your real self's strength prevail in this circumstance, which means every place you raised an image of yourself before. Because what appears to hide the face of your true self is powerless before your true self's majesty, and it disappears before your true self's innocent sight. The saviors of the world, plural, the saviors of the world are those who see like love, and they are merely those who chose love's strength instead of their own weakness, seen apart from him, their true self. These saviors will redeem the world. They will save the world because they are joined to all the power of the will of God, and what they will is only what God wills. Okay. So, in other words, when you notice that you have a temptation to feel weak and pitiful and guilty and limited, like you're just a body, and you say, this is just another chance to choose again, then literally all the love and the power in the universe comes to support you in taking your place in among the saviors of the world. All that love and power comes through you and uses you to save the world. You become the savior of the world. You are the savior of the world. There's not one savior of the world. You are the savior. We are the saviors of the world. And this is how we do it. You know, when those weakness, that temptation to feel weak and pitiful and guilty and lonely come up, and we say, here's my chance to choose again. I am going to side with the strength in me. I am going to side with love's strength in me. I'm siding with that. And I'm only going to let that direct my actions, whatever I do. Now you are now what? He says, now you will save the world. Now that's how you save the world. That's how you save the world. So, learn then the happy habit of response to all temptation to perceive yourself as weak and vulnerable with these words. Okay? Every time you see yourself as weak and vulnerable, temptation, see yourself as weak and vulnerable. Temptation to see yourself as weak and vulnerable. Respond happily with saying, I am as God created me. I am God's child. God's child can suffer nothing, and I am God's child. So that, he says, this should be your happy habit of response. Okay? You know how we got all these bad habits? Here's a good habit. You know, here's a good habit that will replace all your bad habits. That is what we have. That is the bad habits that come from the temptation to see ourselves as weak and vulnerable. Okay? The good habit that we want to form that will replace all our bad habits is when you feel the temptation to perceive yourself as weak and vulnerable, you tell yourself the truth. You side with the power and the love in you, and you tell yourself the truth, and you say, I am as God created me. And as God created me, I can't suffer anything. I can't lose. I can't die. I can't be hurt. I can't be attacked. I can't lose. I can't be guilty. As I was created by God, I can suffer nothing. I am as God created me, and as God created me, I can't suffer anything. I can't suffer loss or lack or death. And I am God's child. So take that, ego. That is, what does he say? It says, learn the happy habit of response to all temptation to perceive yourself as weak and vulnerable by saying that. I am as God created me. As God created me, I cannot suffer this lack or this loss or death or shame or anything. And I am God's child. So, suck it, ego. That's the that is what we're being asked to learn. That's what we're being asked to learn. And how do you learn something? Repetition. How do you learn something? Repetition. Repetition. So we're being asked, repeat this, please. Repeat this, repeat this. Learn this, repeat it. Learn this, repeat it. Every time you are tempted to perceive yourself as weak and vulnerable, say these words to yourself. And hallelujah, you don't have to believe it at all for to get the miracle. Why is it you don't have to believe this to get the miracle as if you did? Because it's true. What's true, you don't have to believe to get the miracle. Yes?
So, Anna, as you speak, I love it. And I'm thinking, like, as I've been looking just on, some of the sayings every day in the workbook. Sometimes, would you say this, the emotions can come up for cleansing, like grief?
Yes.
Things like that.
Yes.
So,
And the cleansing, Bobby, I love my mother's name. Bobby's saying that when the things come up, when the emotions come up, can you see it like a cleansing?
Yeah.
And the interpretation here is when it comes up, it's a chance to reinterpret it. Because as you reinterpret the emotions that come up or the trauma that comes up, whatever it is that comes up, that tempts me to see myself as weak and vulnerable, it's a chance to interpret it differently. And the interpreting of it differently is the cleansing of it. That is what we call the healing of it. It's not just that the emotions come up, blah, that is the healing of it. It's our interpretation of it. What are we using it for? Am I using this to prove to myself that I'm weak victim and that I deserve pity and that other people should feel guilty? Is that what I'm going to use it for? Or am I going to use it to go, oh, look what I learned about myself in the past. I don't like that. That is not true. And it is producing suffering for me. I don't want to believe that anymore about myself. I'm so glad I'm looking at it. Until it comes up, I can't look and see, dang, that's what I believe I am. Ew, I don't want to believe that about myself anymore. So it's a miracle whenever that stuff comes up that tempts us to feel weak and pitiful and vulnerable. Because only then can you go, I don't want to believe that about myself anymore. And it's not true. But until you look at it, you can't know. Thank you. It's a great question.
I just wanted to follow up that this summary affirmation prayer, it really, taking it as a snippet here in class, being in the summary, it's hard to imagine developing that habit. But I just wanted to point out that that's what the workbook is for.
Thank you.
That's what the workbook is for. The
Yes.
workbook essentially says this multiple ways, analogous statements, and even if it doesn't say that exactly, it all's leading up to the development of this happy habit.
That's exactly right. Thank you very much. The workbook is all about developing this happy habit of response to temptation, to see ourselves as weak and pitiful and vulnerable. Thank you. So that's what the workbook is for. Okay. And take that phrase and write it down and put it on your mirrors. Put it someplace. Just put it a bunch of places, and that puts it into your memory. Because what's the instruction here? Learn the happy habit of response to all temptation, to see yourself as weak and vulnerable. And how do you do that? By siding with the truth, and by siding with the strength in you, remembering the truth in you, and siding with your strength. And even if you don't fully believe the truth about you, and even if you don't feel strong in that moment, don't use your weakness to direct your action. That's all you have to do. And then, because once you do that, you have given permission, you have sided with the real strength in you. And then your real strength will guide and direct your actions. So even if you don't accept the truth about yourself, that doesn't, you can still don't use your weakness to guide your action. Beautiful. Anything else?
Another example of I need do nothing.
Yes. Another example of I need do nothing. Exactly. Exactly. And so truly, another way of siding with your strengths means instead of using my ego to direct my action, I'm just going to simply try to remember the truth about myself. What did the Course in Miracles tell me about myself? You know, what does the Course in Miracles say is the truth about myself?
I am not my body, I am free.
I am not my body, I am free.
I am still as God created me.
I am still as God created me. I am still as God created me. All right. We're going to stop here. We're going to do, let's do our love offering. Would somebody grab this and pass this around? Thank you so much, all you, for being out here to support the Miracle Center. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you all who are watching on Facebook and YouTube right now. Thank you for joining. Hi, Patty. Lovely to see you. And Carol and Carolina. Thank you for joining this healing circle. And if you would like to support the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center, but you can't get down here, then share this video. If you're watching on YouTube, then like, share, and subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook, then share this on your Facebook page, and that would be very supportive to the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center. All of the classes that I do and the classes that Greg and I do are listed in this class description, and that's it. So now we're just going to do 2 minutes of an integration meditation where we take these ideas and we use them. Okay? So if you have to go, you're totally innocent. You know what to do. You got your marching orders, so. All right. So wonderful to have you all here. Such a blessing. So close your eyes and just notice how you feel having heard these ideas today. And notice how you feel hearing these ideas with all these glorious, mighty companions around you. How does it feel to be joining with others in these healing ideas? Just notice that you are not alone right now. And enjoy that, and let that feeling heal your sense of isolation, loss, and loneliness. You are not alone. And let's take a moment to feel that fact and let it heal you. Beautiful. Now I want you to bring to your awareness some kind of trial that you are going through right now. Some kind of something that feels scary. I want you to bring this trial to your awareness. I want you to see it in your mind's eye. Just take a moment to notice what your interpretation of this problem had been. Notice how you were using this trial, this problem. Now I want you to tell yourself, this problem, this trial is tempting me to believe that I am just a body, that I am in a body that is frail and must die, and I cannot escape the body's frailty. Tell yourself that. Tell yourself the truth about this trial. This problem is just trying to convince me that I am a weak, guilty body, that I am frail and weak and vulnerable, and I cannot escape that. And now I want you to imagine your higher self, the Christ in you, you without fear, without guilt, you as a spirit, not limited to or by your body. I want you to imagine your true self standing right beside you, also looking at this problem, this trial. And I want you to hear your true self, your fearless, limitless spirit self saying to you, here's your chance to choose again. Would you choose to be this weak and frail and vulnerable and guilty body? Or would you like to take your place among the saviors of the world? Because your true self is here right now, and it is asking you this question. And now I want you to answer your higher self. What's your answer? Now I want you to tell yourself, this trial is just a lesson that I failed to learn, that is being presented to me once again, so that where I made a faulty choice before, I can make a better choice now. And I want you to tell yourself, as you look upon this trial, this problem, I choose to choose again. I am so grateful for this opportunity to choose once again and make a better choice so that I can escape all the problems that my faulty choice brought me before. And my choice now is, I am as love created me. I am as power created me. And as love created me, I can suffer nothing. As love created me, I cannot lose. I cannot be frail. I cannot be weak. I cannot be vulnerable. I cannot lack, and I cannot die. I choose to accept that I am as love created me. I am not a body. That's my choice now. And I'm so grateful for this opportunity to choose once again what I want to be. I don't want to be that weak and frail and vulnerable and guilty body. I don't want to be that. That is not me. I choose to accept the truth about myself, that I am as love created me. And as love created me, I cannot lose, I cannot die, and I am strong. And I want you to tell yourself, and in this trial, I will not allow my weakness to direct my action. I side with the true strength within me. In this situation, in this trial, I choose to be only what God created me to be, and that is all I will do. Beautiful. Now, I want you to look at this trial again and see how it looks differently to you. How does this trial, this problem look now? Beautiful. And may this be our happy habit to all response to all temptation to perceive ourselves as weak and frail and vulnerable. I remain as God created me, and as God created me, I cannot be weak or frail or vulnerable, and I cannot die, and I am love's child. Beautiful. And to that we say, amen. And when you're ready, open your eyes and take a breath and yawn and stretch. And all right, you guys, way to love yourselves. Give it up for yourselves. You actually came to hear something lovely for yourself this morning. Way to love yourself. Way to love yourself. Love you guys.